Hello and welcome back to Pop Culture Graveyard. I am Hollis, and this week I'm going to talk about my favorite damned songs. Not, my favorite damned songs. My favorite songs by The Damned. Take two. Hey, do you like The Damned? Hold back a little, hold back a little. Don't give it all to them at once. Take three. Anyway, these are my favorite songs by The Damned. The reason I'm focusing on The Damned is because there was great news recently. The original lineup of The Damned, Dave Vanian on vocals, Captain Sensible on guitar/bass, Rat Scabies on drums, and Brian James on guitar, are reforming for a tour of Europe next year, 2021. So I thought it would be a great time to talk about my all-time favorite Damned songs. And I had to limit myself, so you're getting 7 songs. Yet another magnificent 7. I know you missed them. These are just my favorites. They're not the best songs. Yada yada yada. Disclaimer. First, a few honorable mentions. Plan 9 Channel 7 is a story about Mila Nurmi, aka Vampira, and her love affair with James Dean. It's a fantastic song. I put it on my Halloween mix. If you haven't seen the Halloween episode, please click above. And it's one of my favorite songs by them, but it didn't make the top 7. Hit or Miss is a great song. Sick of Being Sick, another favorite song of mine. Still, couldn't crack the top 7. I say all this to let you know the Damned have such a wealth of great songs that this is difficult. First up, Neat Neat Neat, off of Damned, 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 the favorite album of Florida Evans from Good Times. 2 inside. It's Dynamite. Don't try so hard. This is supposed to be fun for you. The debut album by The Damned. This is a great album. This album is to 70s punk what the Stooges' Funhouse was to 60s rock. And the song Neat 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 is my favorite song off this album. New Rose was their first single, and it's a great single. It is also powerful, but Neat 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 is my jam. After playing live for months and months, the band was super tight, and they went into the studio and they laid this down in 3 days. With producer Nick Lowe. It was put out on Stiff Records. If it ain't stiff, it ain't worth a... I can't say it. Family show. What the fuck am I talking about? It's not a family show. This album is a frenetic burst of excitement that is the audio equivalent of the adrenaline shot that Vincent Vega gives Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction. Holy hell, is this a fast, loud album. The song is so cool for many reasons. First of all, they're not singing neat, neat, neat. They're actually singing knee, 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 as in the Knights Who Say Knee from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which was released in 1975. The band got a big kick out of it, and that's why they pronounce it like that. And if you try to sing along with the song, you'll see it's almost impossible to sing neat, neat, neat as quickly as the music comes at you. So knee, knee, knee is the way to sing it. The bass line of Neat, Neat, Neat is ridiculous. Captain Sensible, as we would later learn when he switched to guitar, is a virtuoso. So he was basically a frustrated guitarist who had to play bass. Much like Ron Ashton from the Stooges, he informed his bass lines with a lot more magic than most bass players. So you feel this propulsive energy coming through in that bass line that is exciting and raw and urgent, and it drives the song. The lyrics to the song are somewhat conceptual and oblique, like my favorite lyrics. They're snapshots of evocative phrases used for effect that don't really add up to anything tangible when you put them all together, but it sure sounds like they do. There's enough of a through line from one line to the next, but taken as a whole, the song doesn't really mean much. And that's sort of the way that Brian James, the chief songwriter and guitarist, wrote. And the lyrics are great. No crime if there ain't no law, no cops left to mess you around, no more dreams of mystery chords, no more sight to bring you down. Whatever the hell all that means, it works. It spins like a top. And it's got one of the best choruses ever. She can't afford no cannon. She can't afford no gun at all. She can't afford no cannon. She ain't got no name to call. She must have had no luck at Walmart. I don't know who she is, but I feel for her. The whole song is just a car speeding down a hill with the foot all the way down on the accelerator. And then when it finally ends, it stops on a dime. They were so tight. New Rose is great. Take New Rose if you want it. Neat 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 is the gem on this album. As I say, it was produced by Nick Lowe, and Nick Lowe, one of his nicknames, aside from the Jesus of Cool, which he is, one of his nicknames is Basher. He liked a bit of noise, and he really captured the noise beautifully here. Incidentally, Nick Lowe's good buddy, Elvis Costello, did a cover of Neat Neat Neat, which was on a 7-inch single that was included with some versions of this year's model. Can't go wrong with this song. I'm going to put the link below. As always, you can click the link, but you gotta come back. You just gotta. Incidentally, Neat 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 also came out on this 12-inch that also has New Rose and Help and Stretcher Case Baby and Sick of Being Sick. Sick of Being Sick is my all-time favorite Damned B-side. You might want to check that out. But no matter how you get Neat Neat Neat, just get it. Up next, Problem Child, released in September of 1977. It is off the Music for Pleasure album. This was their sophomore album, and succumbed to the oft-mentioned sophomore slump. An awful lot of these songs were not inspired. But from the Even a Stopped Clock is Right Twice a Day file, there is a great song on here. It kicks off the album. Problem Child is more than just the beginnings of my favorite screenwriting team, Larry Karaszewski and Scott Alexander. It is also a hell of a great song by The Damned, and it is on this album, Music for Pleasure, which was produced by Pink Floyd's Nick Mason. The reason Nick Mason produced was because the band tried their hardest and moved heaven and earth to try to get Syd Barrett to produce this album. Clearly, Syd was in no position to produce anyone, let alone a chaotic band like The Damned. I would have loved to have seen what that looked like, but Nick Mason was a much safer choice. I talked about the oblique, snapshot-like nature of some of the lyrics on their first album. This is somewhat the inverse of that. The lyrics on this album are pretty literal. Songs like One Way Love, Don't Cry Wolf, You Take My Money have lyrics that pretty much walk straight down Coronation Street. But it works on Problem Child, because we're talking about a problem child. He's always out getting drunk in bars, gets home at 3 a.m. He loves his records and he's gonna play them. I understand Problem Child. I am Problem Child. Problem Child is one of the most fun songs in the Damned catalog. The song sizzles, then explodes into a chorus. Then it sizzles, and then it explodes into a chorus. It's very effective. And the only true stylish flourishes happen courtesy of Rat Scabies' drum fills. There's always been magic between Brian James and Rat Scabies when they play together. That's what the band started with, is that interplay between lead guitar and drums. Rat Scabies is the Keith Moon of UK punk. Dave Vanian's vocals sound amazing on Problem Child. They're early Vanian vocals though. There's more shouting in key that's going on. But here he almost sings it, and it's very effective. He is the Problem Child, inhabiting that role as Roger Daltrey did Tommy. Oh, now they're The Who? Yeah, I went there. It's the original Bad Boy song by the original UK punk Bad Boys. You can't tame them. 50-something years of chaos coming at you. They are the problem children of UK punk. And the chorus sums it up perfectly. Problem child, we think you live much too wild. Problem child, when you get home, your daddy's gonna tan your hide. He isn't even home. I think they're yelling at him in his absence. Here's what's gonna happen to you when you get home. It's a great song. But Problem Child transitioned into later Damned shows. Much easier than some of their other rockers. And make no mistake, Problem Child is a rocker. So Problem Child is a great song off an unheralded album. So after the Music for Pleasure album, Brian James, chief songwriter and lead guitarist, left the band. Normally that means the end of a band. Not so with the Damned. Rat Scabies formed a band called the White Cats. Captain Sensible formed a band called King. Dave Vanian was out collecting coffins. But they all decided to reform one more time as the Damned, first as the Doomed with Lemmy on bass, but then back as the Damned. And they came out with a stellar album, Machine Gun Etiquette. And the song that put them back on the map was Love Song. Love Song, released in April 1979, with the B-side Suicide, one of my favorite B-sides of all time, is an outrageously good song. It's so good that you can't believe it was written without the benefit of their chief songwriter. Love Song is credited to every band member. I think that might be a reaction to the Brian James years, where he was the only one with publishing because he wrote everything. So this album is 2 years after Music for Pleasure, and it is a strong comeback for the band. Aside from the batch of songs, which are great, Captain Sensible, who was the bass player, switched over to lead guitar, and holy hell can he play. He is a stellar guitarist. They got in Algie Ward on bass. Fantastic bass player, perfect for the Damned, especially at that time, because he was a nut, and they all were. So they essentially had 4 frontmen. Most bands, when their chief songwriter leaves, they just shrivel up and die. But not so for the Damned. It's only when Patrick Ewing gets injured that you can really see what the rest of the Knicks can do. Yes, I just compared the Damned to the New York Knicks. Get over it. But if the New York Knicks aren't the Damned, I don't know who is. Love Song is perhaps the quintessential punk rock love song. Unlike a lot of punk bands who just start however they start their songs, the Damned always had great intros. It starts out with this BBC One-like presenter voice going, "Ladies and gentlemen, how do?" And then the band launch into this great anguished guitar line. And you're not sure where the song's going. And then Algie Ward lays down this ridiculously melodic, thudding, heavy, heavy, heavy bass line. And then the song kicks in. And the lyrics, "I'll be the ticket if you are my collector. I've got the fare if you are my inspector. I'll be the luggage if you'll be the porter. I'll be the parcel if you'll be my sorter." And it goes on like that. "I'll be the rubbish, you'll be the bin." Those are great punk lyrics. And the chorus is great. "Just for you, here's a love song. Just for you, here's a love song. And it makes me glad to say, it's been a lovely day. And it's okay." It's a little dose of sweet sunshine in the otherwise dark, chaotic world of Damned lyrics. Love Song was a great comeback for the band. It was their first UK top 20 hit, and it firmly established them as a creative unit again. Up next, oh, we're staying with Machine Gun Etiquette. You know why? Because the song Anti-Pope is on here. Anti-Pope is one of my all-time favorite punk songs. Anti-Pope was written by Henry Badowski. Henry Badowski was in the band King with Captain Sensible. What happened was, after the band initially broke up, Captain Sensible was just sitting in his house in Croydon, feeling depressed, and he ended up forming a band with Henry Badowski, who was this very talented multi-instrumentalist songwriter. Captain's brother Phil Burns also joined, and they formed this band King. Not to be confused with the King of Alone Without You, that wonderful 80s hit. This was a short-lived band, but they did do a John Peel session, which is excellent, and I will put the link to it in the description below. One of the songs that the band King played on the John Peel session was Anti-Pope. They also did Jet Boy, Jet Girl, the Ultimo Tello song, which would later become a Damned standard. But Anti-Pope details a very anti-religious person's criticism of the church and the people who go there. It is a rockin' guitar-driven track. If you like electric guitars, you'll like Anti-Pope. Anti-Pope just kicks your ass from the opening. It harkens back to the early Damned, that breakneck speed, chaotic Damned that everyone fell in love with right out of the gate. Anti-Pope was a salve for all of the fans who jumped ship after Brian James left. And they were like, okay, I guess these guys can still do it. The song starts out, "I'm going down to church tonight. Take me back to when I was 8, but I don't mean to pray. I'm gonna nick the collection plate." You got childhood remembrances of going to church. You got a cynical grown-up talking about how he's gonna steal the money in the collection plate. That's how you open a song, baby. My favorite lines, and this is coming to you from a former altar boy. My favorite lines in the song: "So many people are weak in their lives and seek guidance from the peddlers of hope. As you know, I used to go there myself until the day I became Anti-Pope." What? Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. Those are great lyrics. There's no let-up in the lyrics. From start to finish, they are just outrageous. And that's exactly what the song needs, because it's a crazy energetic song, and it cries out for lyrics to match. The Vickers are transvestite with a fetish for ropes and gowns. The lyrics just keep going. Religion doesn't mean a thing. It's just another way of being right-wing. Come on, dog. Captain Sensible took the song with him when he rejoined the Damned. And somehow, Henry Badowski, who wrote the entire song, is not credited on the album. The label actually says Sensible, Vanian, Scabies, and Ward. So I feel bad for Henry Badowski, but it is a fantastic song. And one of my Magnificent Seven. Up next, Smash It Up Parts 1 and 2. We're staying with Machine Gun Etiquette. That's how good an album this is. Smash It Up Parts 1 and 2. Fine, I'm cheating. But they are really one song. Smash It Up Part 1 is merely an intro, if you want to get down to it. But I love the intro. The intro was written by Captain Sensible on guitar after his mother told him that Mark Bolan had been killed in an automobile crash. So he began writing that music. And it sounds sad. Even though it's just an instrumental with no lyrics, Smash It Up Part 1 sounds sad. If you're unaware, Mark Bolan of T-Rex was a big fan of The Damned, and he had them open for him on his tour in 1977. They became very friendly. He was one of the few established rock stars that was actually friendly and welcoming to the new punk bands. Love Mark Bolan. So Sensible was really broken up about it. Now, years later, Captain Sensible has said he didn't realize the irony of writing a song about Mark Bolan who just died in a car crash and naming it Smash It Up. He said it was subliminal songwriting, but it's a pretty odd tribute. Incidentally, there's also a Smash It Up Part 3 and Part 4. I'll put the links below so that you can have them all together. But Smash It Up Part 2 is what really concerns us. It was released as a single in September of 1979, and it's basically an anti-hippie song. All the UK punks hated hippies. They were very anti the peace and love movement that didn't get anything accomplished, and they were very much more in favor of revolution and creating real change. Barring that, they were into destroying everything. The lyrics go, "You can keep your Krishna burgers and your Glastonbury hippies. You can stick your frothy lager and your blow wave hairstyles." Now, in 5 years, the Damned would all have blow wave hairstyles. But still, Smash It Up Part 2 was the second single off Machine Gun Etiquette, and it was banned by BBC One's playlist because of anarchistic lyrics. The Damned, 50 years of anarchism and chaos. Smash It Up Parts 1 and 2, taken together, is a beautiful musical journey. Sometimes I like Part 1 more than Part 2, but they need each other. And I think it was a shame that the single didn't include Part 1. But if you were to listen to only one Damned song from any era to tell what they're really about, I'd play Smash It Up Parts 1 and 2 for you. It is a great example of what the Damned do so well, and I love it. Okay, we're putting this album to bed now. Up next, Shadow of Love off of Phantasmagoria. This is a great album. It's got my favorite Damned cover with the beautiful model, Susie Bick. I think it's my pick for most gothic album cover ever. Goth, goth, goth. None more goth. Phantasmagoria made it to number 11 on the UK album charts. It was a big hit and comeback for the band. Captain Sensible went off to have a surprisingly successful solo career. With Captain Sensible gone, the Damned became the Dave Vanian Show. And thank God for it. This entire album is built around his beautiful baritone voice. My favorite track off it, Shadow of Love. So there's this beautiful spaghetti western-like guitar that opens the track. Then this sexy shuffling beat starts. Then this just lush, almost strings-like orchestration begins. And then it goes into gorgeous gothic overdrive. Every night, every day, I experience the most exquisite pain. Come on. You hear those lyrics sung by that man when you're blossoming into manhood or womanhood, and it's a full-blown hormone holocaust. The guitar, the keyboards, very reserved drumming by Rat Scabies all conspire to create one of their best love songs. Now, it's the kind of love song the Beast from Beauty and the Beast might sing, but a love song nonetheless. Don't be afraid to get caught in the shadow of love. As I said, this album was a hit. So they got to do a lot of TV, and when the young girls saw Dave Vanian sporting his duochrome do and frilly cuffed shirt, they all had a new goth crush. I'm crushing on him right now just remembering. How cool was Dave Vanian during that period? I didn't think that there was one problem in my life that couldn't be solved if I looked exactly like Dave Vanian, but I muddled through. Shadow of Love was released as a single in June of 1985. As an aside, the video is great. The new Damned have longer hair, frilly shirts, very Interview with a Vampire, and it must be said, blow wave hairstyles. Shadow of Love is just a beautiful gothic love song from the reinvented and reinvigorated Damned. Up next, I just had to include Eloise. Eloise is a cover of a Barry Ryan song from 1968. The original was great. I'm going to put a link to it below. Fantastic song, well executed. About 18 years later or so, they released this song in January of 1986, and it is the perfect song for Dave Vanian. Dave Vanian is uncanny at finding songs that suit his voice, and this is no exception. This is the only cover on my list, because it blew the band up even bigger. Phantasmagoria came out and was a hit, And then this non-album single came out. And Barry Ryan himself said, "I like the Damned version better." That's how good this is. The song packs a bigger punch than the original without losing any of the original's romanticism. The original version seems to have almost no drums at all, possibly a cymbal keeping time, but it's very orchestral. But Rat Scabies on drums drives this song. He doesn't overplay, yet without Rat, the song wouldn't have any balls. Rat's drumming is the power, Dave's voice is the magic, and the backing vocals, which I believe are Dave multitracked, really sweeten the mix. It's a big sound, almost Phil Spector-esque. It's a wall of sound, and it's no surprise this reached number 3 on the UK charts. There's Dave at the height of, "If Hollis looked like me, he would have no problems." Fame. Is that a handsome man or what? I just love that white streak. Come on. This is the 12-inch. It's an excellent version. So if you see Eloise, the song, run, don't walk. Just get it. That's it for this week on Pop Culture Graveyard. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, let me know in the comments, and please subscribe. I will see you next week with a lot more cool stuff.